Welcome. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I try to come every Thursday. It's just an open forum. You're welcome to ask whatever questions you want. If you want to talk about state of Utah, the United States, real estate, maybe even trading, because I do trade Forex every once in a while. So a little bit of experience with that. I'm open. Sports, you name it. It is beautiful in northern Utah right now. The weather is 80-degree days. Fantastic. Of course, very, very low humidity. If you're an outdoor person, great time. Started planting the garden last weekend. Got a little more in this week. So it's that time of year. Talk about what's happening in the news this week. I just released a new video this morning on the debt ceiling. What may happen if there is not an agreement made? And Zillow came out with a report saying 8% mortgage rates. A little bit devastating. It would definitely put a damper in the housing market. Payments would go up about 20% roughly. It's there's many other things that would happen in the economy around the United States and around the world, because our debt rating would not look very favorable. So I'm not too sure what the solution is. Maybe some middle ground. The Democrats, they want absolutely no spending cuts. The Republicans want spending cuts. I mean, personally, it's to me, it's all political. They're trying to stake their chess pieces for the general election, and they're going to do whatever they can between now and the general election to make one party or the other look not so favorable. That's what I think it really boils down to, and not so much the good of the economy or what is good for the United States. So that's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. Maybe they do care about the United States. I think they do care about the United States somewhat, but they right now they are using it as a political chess piece. That's in my opinion. So in the news here locally, of course, we're affected by the debt ceiling also. We will be affected by the debt ceiling, I should say. Nothing right now going on, but Delta Airlines. Delta is our main airline that flies out of Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is one of their hubs. It has been for many years. Where the Utah Jazz play used to be called the Delta Center, has changed names. Just recently, they announced that Delta would be sponsoring the arena again. So the name will be changing to Delta. I'm not too sure exactly when. It'll be called the Delta Center again. But Delta is a major carrier here in Salt Lake City. They are adding more flights. The airport, we have a new airport. They built a new airport, and it opened, I think, during COVID. And bigger, can take more planes. We can fly international, I believe. They still have like 2 nonstop flights to Europe, 1 to Paris, 1 to London. Trying to get into a little bit more of that. But Delta is adding more destinations to their flight schedule out of Salt Lake City. So the cities that are going to be added would be Milwaukee, Austin, Nashville, Charlotte, Newark, Philadelphia, and Calgary. So growth. That is basically the growth that's happened in Utah. More flights are needed. More people are flying out of the airport. So it's needed. That's Utah's growth. And on another note with that, there's been a little bit of chatter. This is just all rumors, et cetera. But the owner of the Utah Jazz has made it a public statement stating that he is looking for an NHL team. He wants to bring an NHL team to Utah. I don't know if he's got any leads, if that's why he has stated that, but he has made it known he wants to bring an NHL team. Now, the Arizona Coyotes, I was just reading on some of the forums down in Arizona, the state or the city or the county, they were trying to get an arena built, and they have told them no. So there's rumors that the Arizona Coyotes are, I guess, upset, possibly could be moving. So then the rumors stretch to maybe Salt Lake City. But so if you're a sports fan, keep your ears, if you're a hockey fan, especially keep your ears tuned to that particular discussion. Maybe something will materialize. While we're talking about hockey, there has been an agreement signed with the Las Vegas Golden Knights to air their games in Utah. So you'll be able to watch. I'm not too sure if it's all the games or some of the games, but they did make an agreement to broadcast into the Utah market more. This article, a little bit controversial. So a little bit of background. About 7 years ago, there was a report made from local news stations that the city of Ogden police officers had a ticket quota. They had to write X amount of tickets. Okay. At one point, there was even, I remember an article that a lady was driving around Ogden with a billboard plastered saying, Ogden ticket office or something like that. And her husband, I believe, was in law enforcement. And so the state of Utah passed some legislation back in 2018 that banned the whole ticket quota idea. They thought that it was not right, not fair. Well, the subject has appeared again in Ogden once again. They have in Ogden what they call a point system. And the way I understand it, best of my knowledge, is if you're an officer and you give somebody a warning, it's say 1 point. And I don't know the exact point number. So you write a ticket, say it's 4 points. DUI is like 10 points. And there's a whole system. And you accumulate points, I guess, throughout the month. Well, they use that point system. They had some officers that have come out and complained to local, or the news station got a hold of some officers. And they claim that their performance reviews, one of the things is this point system. How many points have they earned throughout the month or year? However, the chief or the supervisors monitor this. So it brings it right back around to the whole ticket quota idea. There are some lawmakers that are looking into this. They feel that this point system is a way to skirt the laws that they passed back in 2018. The Ogden police chief came out and said, no, it's not. We do not have ticket quotas, et cetera, et cetera. I'll leave that to everybody's opinion. But I guess be warned, if you are in the Ogden area, there's a possibility that you may get a ticket. So let's see. Do city councils ever say no to land rezoning or developers' proposals? Yes, 100%. Happens all the time. What happens? So this is one of the dilemmas that you will find in Utah and around the country. A lot of, in the past, let's go back, say 10 years, 15, 20 years ago, most residents of a city, county, unless they were involved in the city council meetings, the planning and zoning meetings, they pretty much weren't aware, I should say, of developments that were occurring in their city. They had to, go out of their way, read the news letters that came from the city, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now what happens with Facebook, and you have all these community groups, Salt Lake City, Provo, many. So when one resident or two hears that there is a development going in, or such and such bought the land and they plan on developing it into homes or commercial, they put that on Facebook instantly. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get my, and then it spreads like wildfire. Then people get upset. They then go to the city council meetings. They call the mayor, etc., and say, "Hey, not in my city. Don't build. I don't want that." And I've seen this in the groups. You'll see a gas station going in, and they'll literally object to it. No, no, no. I want a Red Lobster. I want Taco Bell, and etc., etc. So there is more pressure now than ever on the city council members and the mayor and the planning and zoning division. People show up those meetings and they complain and they voice their concern. They bring up all kinds of concerns. So then, the city council members, they look at it a little bit deeper, take the comments into consideration. And there are times when things don't get approved. And I was thinking of something else there. And this goes back about 10 years ago, how it works. Friend of mine, or somebody that I know, I don't know him really, really close. I haven't seen him in a few years, but he is a big developer in Utah, has been, his family has been. And I asked him about we had lunch together and we talked about development. And I said, what happens when you don't get something developed? And he said, Mike, he goes, I'm not a developer. I'm a politician. To be in the development game, it's not a matter of buying the land and bringing in the contractors. It's getting the approvals. And you have to do what you have to do. Whether that is elect mayors and city council members that would agree to your ideas, and he goes out and he lobbies in particular areas that he's interested in or has interest in for, he becomes friendly with the mayor, the city council members, the planning and zoning. He helps fund their campaigns, you name it. He does what he has to do, so that when he does go to develop, it is a little bit easier. This is just on a small level. Now, this happens in Washington, D.C. all the time, probably. I won't even go there. But that's the job of developers now. So, yes, people do. And that hurts. Sometimes it hurts the supply chain for our housing. Sometimes these projects can drag out and drag out and drag out. And in the end, if a developer, as a citizen, you have to say why you do not want the development. You can't just say, because I don't want anything in that field. Well, you don't own that land. Somebody else owns that land. That doesn't work. But if you say, hey, there's too much noise, the street access, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of times the developers will then redesign the plan to meet the concerns of the citizens, so that when they then go back to the planning and zoning or the city council, they can say, hey, we had a noise complaint. We are going to build a 10-foot wall. There will be no noise coming from this development, et cetera, whatever they have to do to get it. And that just makes it longer and longer before they can develop land and we can build homes. So, are there kickbacks from developers to local politicians? Seems everything moves forward. Well, it's possible. It's possible. I have no firsthand knowledge of that. we can go right up to the top with that one. I mean, did the Bidens get some kickbacks from places like Ukraine and China? Hunter Biden. So, yeah. What happens on a national level may happen on a local level. It's possible. Who knows? Who knows? So, thanks for information about appealing property tax. How do Utahns appeal if they've no access to home sales without going through a realtor? I don't know how else. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know if a particular county would take like a Zillow estimate, et cetera, et cetera. It's not typically on their form. They want actual sold properties. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to another way around that, but you can reach out to me sometime, with some details, and I'll work on it for you. But the one thing when I say that though is keep in mind that when notices get sent out, when these notices get sent out, I think I did 150 to 200 last year in like a 2-month time frame. There's only about 2 months you have between my own properties, friends, families, people who I've sold homes to, friends of friends of friends that I've never met before. My name gets popped around there and my email box gets pretty full. So when that time comes, you'd have to get to me early, because as we get later, there's more and more requests. I just can't handle all the requests. I literally have to turn people away with providing all the sold data, because it's just a short period of time that I have to work with. Because most people, they wait till they get the notice in the mail and they're like, that's ridiculous, so I'm going to appeal it. And that's when it starts. So, and then they'll ask around people they work with, and then my name will pop up with some people that like, oh, I know this person, call him, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's all I say is when that time comes, if you can hit me up earlier as opposed to later. I'm not doing as many, but as the weeks go by, yeah, I definitely have more than I can handle when it comes. And some of that's because I don't charge. I don't charge for it, but some realtors probably do. I think that I make a fair living by buying and selling properties as it is. So I don't nickel and dime people for that kind of information. Now, if someone brought me like they had 50 rentals or something like that, then that might be a little different. But so, okay. So as we were mentioning about the police, there's something else going on too. We've for the last couple of years, the buzzword in Utah is drought. We need more water. We don't have enough water, et cetera, et cetera. What are we going to do? Well, this winter, that problem got solved. We had a record winter. We got water coming off the mountain right now, flooding some neighborhoods. Matter of fact, I was up the canyon a couple days ago, and it's onto the road. They got sandbags on the road down to one lane, and they actually closed the canyon early in the week because the road washed away. So they had to bring boulders in and dirt and new blacktop on part of it. So, but before that, we were talking about water conservation. So the state of Utah, somebody in the state of Utah, lawmakers, have gone to Israel for some assistance in water conservation. I guess at one time, Israel was an area that was, very similar to Utah, using a lot of water, not many resources. And now it has turned around to where they manage their water very, very well. I guess they're known for water conservation around the country. So Utah is there getting ideas to bring back to Utah to help us conserve more and more water. I love the proactive approach. I really love it. Not wait till you turn the tap and nothing comes out. I love the idea. If some of these items will work here or not too sure. Some of the farming ideas that they have on the farms, they stated in the article that if Utah adopted some of their farming ideas, we could reduce our farming water by almost 50%. That's enormous, enormous amount. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm glad that people are thinking about the future, because I always think about not so much northern Utah, but southern Utah. The growth in St. George, and it's been drought conditions for many, many years. Not too sure what they're going to do in areas like St. George, Mesquite, Las Vegas, Phoenix in the future. I have no idea where the water is going to come from. Vivint Arena last night. Excellent show. So I guess it's still called Vivint Arena at the moment. As I was mentioning earlier, it will be changing its name back to the Delta Center. That was the original sponsor on the building. And then it has swapped hands to Vivint and Energy Solutions. And I think we've had somebody else too. But it will be going back to the Delta Center. Not too sure when that transition takes. I guess whenever their contract runs out on the sponsorship deal. Any more questions this evening? Before I call it a night, I appreciate all the questions. It's great. I have a great time Thursday evening with this. I'm going to call it an evening then. I will see everybody next week. Thank you.